everybody. Just wanted to welcome you to our webinar, The Power of Donated Listings. My name is Josh Guchar. I am the Director of Marketing and Sales here at Xiaomi. And today I am joined by Cami Baker of the Real Agents of Change, known as The Rock. And we're going to be talking a little bit about getting a full commission on listing donated properties. Cami, give us a quick intro.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm so appreciative that you have got a visionary gift for wanting to help these realtors. And what I want our viewers to know is, I get you. I was you. I am you. I was a real estate agent for many, many years. I was calling expireds, door knocking for sale by owners, competing for commission, cutting commission, just networking, 3-4 networking events in a day. And we know we are never the only realtor at a networking event, whether it's in a room or on Zoom. So it was all that real estate experience. And then I also had, my dream car was a 64.5 Mustang convertible that I bought with my first big commission check. And even though my office laughed at me and said, shame on you, what a money pit, they saw you coming, I said, you don't know, this is going to be great for my business. So I did car shows and I did a lot of fundraising. And it was that real estate and it was that fundraising experience that had me see charitable gifting of real estate 3.5 years ago, apparently in such a way as no one else had ever seen it, because I thought, there's 2 million realtors, give or take when you look. Let's bring it to 1%. Just 1% of them can bring this back to their community, and they can do really, really well by helping others do really, really good. So there's 3 things that I would love for you to know why you want to know what charitable real estate is. We're going to get into that in a minute. Here's 3 of the benefits for you. Number 1, we are all looking for a unique sales proposition. My first thought was the reason I want to bring this to the real estate community, we're always looking for a way to stand out, be unique, be different in that networking event. So this is a unique sales proposition. Your competition doesn't even know this exists. So you've got it up on your competition. Number 2, high net worth individuals. Please write this down. Cash conservative, asset abundant. Cash conservative, asset abundant. That's who donates real estate. So if you want to be introduced to wealthy individuals, people with multiple properties, all the thousands of nonprofits in your marketplace and all their staff and volunteers and funders, this is for you. And then the third thing is, friends, social responsibility. Social responsibility. 87% of your marketplace, no matter where you are, 87% of them will choose you over the realtor that's handing out the magnet with the football schedule, because you're the one that's helping to bring hundreds of thousands and millions of dollars into your community. That's why you want to hear what we're talking about today.
Oh man, I am excited. This is going to be so much fun. We're going to be talking about so many different things. I've got all like my first thoughts when I heard the company. We're going to be going over that. But before we jump into everything, we do have to quickly stop, take a pause and say, hey, if you have any questions throughout today's webinar, please put them in the Q&A section. We're going to do our best to hit those throughout. This is also something that we do with Xiaomi. This is our monthly webinar, and our goal is to continue to educate agents on different ways of growing their business. Today, what was cool was that we have Cami here to teach you guys about that growth, specifically on the listing side. And last thing is, this is being recorded. However, there's always more value in attending live. And the reason that you want to be attending live for any of our webinars ever is because we do condense them down and cut them when we put them out on YouTube later. So there could be some pieces that are missing that really we cover, especially the Q&As. Believe it or not, a lot of our Q&As we do cut and don't put them into the final product, or certain areas we do cut as well. So you could be missing a large part of this conversation by dipping out early. But without further ado, so we're going to start right into, I know you touched up a little bit, but who is donating these listings? Like, what person is donating their house, essentially? Like, Cami,
Well,
who's doing it? Tell me.
well, so once again, they are people that are cash conservative and asset abundant, meaning it could be just a primary residence, the one property that person owns. We've got stories like that. It could be someone who has acquired 3, 5, 10, 50, 100 properties. They're usually 60, 70, 80 years old because they've gotten to a place in life where they're ready to be of significance. 80% who donate do it because it's the right thing to do. They are a veteran. They do love animals and have a house full of cats. Their mother died of breast cancer and they want to find a cure. They are appalled at the homelessness and the human trafficking. So they do it for the right reasons. Now, 20% do it for the tax benefits. What are the tax benefits, CamiBaker.com? Well, some of them, a couple of just really simple ones is number one, they avoid capital gains tax.
Mm-hmm.
So, some people will say to me, well, don't they just want to give their property to their kids? Their kids don't want the hospital in Miami or the strip mall in Vegas or, the three family in Boston. They don't want those properties. Kids want cash. And mom and dad want the tax benefits. They want to be able to write off the appraised value as the basis for the tax deduction. And when we go over this in class, we show a comparison of a $4.5 million property and the difference when it is sold and then they cut a check to the nonprofit world versus if it was donated. And in that example, right off the bat, $900,000 is going to the government for capital gains and recapture tax that could have gone to the nonprofit world if they did it the right way. So these people are typically those who are wanting to be of contribution, and they realize that when they're giving from their wealth bucket of real estate versus the 3%, our nation as a whole, whether you make 20,000 a year or 20 million, our nation has less than 3% of our wealth and pocket change. We have 43% of our wealth in real estate. It's always been the largest asset class. It always will be. So when our viewers let people know, you don't have to give from your pocket change. You can give from your wealth bucket. They are grateful. They will introduce you to others just like them, and you will be able to make money while you help them make a difference.
Yeah. So we're talking people who've got, like you said, wealth. This isn't, I think what's really important to understand, and I know when I first talked to Cami, I didn't understand the whole concept myself because I actually thought the who was someone along the lines of Habitat for Humanity's donating this home. And I'm like, that doesn't make sense. It's a free house. Who's donating these houses? And you're like, no, Josh, it's actually a wealthy class. And, some are really doing this out of the goodness of their heart, or maybe, I'm sure the other stories that you get is maybe somebody passes away and it's just part of their will, right, ahead of time. Is that also something that you see?
Well, sometimes that's the case, but the fact is, if when you think about someone who's cash conservative and asset rich, they don't want to wait. Now, if it's their primary home, maybe they're waiting until they pass. But for example, one of our people is a president of a CCIM out in LA, and he was telling us he had clients last year, they passed away. They wanted all $44 million of their real estate to go to the Huntington Library, and he sold it for them. So that's why he was excited to meet me, because he was like, if we had known about this for the 5 or 10 years leading up to their passing, they could have been donating that real estate and avoiding taxes every year. And even though these people left 44 million to the nonprofit world, they weren't trying to make money or save taxes. It was more money that could have gone to the nonprofit world. Couple $100,000 from this property, $500,000 from that property, and $900,000. All this money that could have gone to the nonprofit world. So it can be It can even be an average person. So we want you to know that obviously, if you think about the demographic, it's somebody that's older, it's somebody that has accumulated multiple properties, hence they probably are a little more on the wealthy side. But we have stories. We have stories. This woman named Linda Grable, who was giving $25 a year, $25 a year for 32 years to her favorite nonprofit. She was cash conservative, $25 a year. She saw a presentation. She learned she could donate real estate. She had a cabin in the Poconos. It was nothing to write home about. It wasn't a mansion. It wasn't a beach house, but she donated it because she was cash conservative and asset abundant. Even just that one property, she donated it. And the reason we share that story is because everybody knows Linda. You know her. She's in your Facebook. She's in your phone. She's in your email list. We just need to let them know, yes, Habitat for Humanity can receive the proceeds from gifts of real estate. They're not donating it. As a matter of fact, they are part of the ones that have already benefited this way. Real estate from anywhere in the country for any habitat. If you're in Houston and you love your Houston Habitat for Humanity and you've got a condo in Florida, or you've got a strip mall in Arkansas, or a ranch in Texas somewhere, doesn't matter where it is. We help to facilitate it and give them the cash.
Yeah. And I think that touches up on like the idea of what is the donated listing. It's it can be different than just a house, right? We could even, I think you and I, when we talked last time, was you even mentioned that churches are being donated and that agents are benefiting from churches being donated.
We have a relationship with the Church Guy Network, a guy named Dan Klatt, who has 49,000 churches on his email list. Now, he's been helping churches to buy and sell for 30 years, not necessarily donate. But when he learned what we were doing, 49,000 churches nationwide, we're putting together a campaign to send out to them to let them know the people in their pews, those Lindas that are giving them $25 a month that they think wouldn't have we don't know anybody that would donate real estate. Please don't have that limited mindset. You have no idea what people will do when you've never even asked them before. So we're teaching the churches to actually ask their parishioners. It is proven that the same donors that are on the donor list, you love your veterans, you love the Humane Society. We've got a great story about the Humane Society. All these nonprofits, the donors on their donor list will give 6 times more. They can 6 times their donations from the same donors they already have when they benefit from non-cash assets, and in our case, real estate.
Wow. It's just, it still blows my mind, like the whole concept, and I can see where it's coming into play more and more. Now, if I were a real estate agent today, what qualifies me to get these donated listings? I mean, we talked about the fact that you can get a full commission on these, and we're going to talk about it again later, but what qualifies me to get those?
Friends, the only thing that needs to qualify you is that you'll use this to tell people, to tell them, whatever fundraising committees you sit on, whatever GoFundMe account you see coming through on Facebook, every time you go to a listing appointment, have an extra sheet in your listing packet that says, I'm a certified charitable real estate specialist. Who do you know that sits on a board of a nonprofit would like to 6 times their donations? Ask me how. Like, just letting people know. And I learned about this 3.5 years ago. I didn't know it was possible. And when I first learned about it, I thought, holy cow, I've been doing all these car shows and golf tournaments and bake sales and barbecues and selling raffle tickets and begging the same people every 6 months to donate another basket. I was doing it for Ronald McDonald House and Make-A-Wish and all. How did I never heard of this before? But the fact is, $9 billion a year does go to nonprofits this way. It's been happening since 1917. It's the U.S. tax code. It's called a charitable gift. It's a tax deduction. And in our case with real estate, it's just way bigger than cash. And you'd have to talk to your CPAs and your financial advisors about all the real benefits to the client, to the consumer.
Sure.
But the fact is, it has been happening. The problem is, here's why we've never heard of it before. 1.5 million nonprofits in this country, your church, your veteran group, your animal shelter, 1.5 million. 99% of them are not only not asking for real estate because they think it's risky, and it is if they try to do it themselves. Not only are they not asking for it, they are turning it down when it's offered. And that's why realtors have never been taught this, because Cami Baker learned about it 3.5 years ago, and I thought we need to teach it. We need to teach them a simple way to make this risk-free and no money out of pocket for the nonprofit world to just get the equity from the property.
Huh. That's, yeah, it totally makes sense. And then, we've talked about, get like what the qualifications really is just about talking to different people, finding them, going to the nonprofit events to find somebody who would be willing to donate. But now, okay, maybe I've got one or two. What's the process look like? Because there's a special process, as you've talked about and hinted towards later, that you have to kind of go through once you've hooked them in. Once you've got the person who's like, okay, I'm willing to donate this listing, walk me through it.
Sure. So once again, the property can be from anywhere in the country for any nonprofit. And so I like to use a condo in Florida as an example. I was in Florida for a couple of years. I'm traveling in my RV right now. I'm in Texas. But let's say there's a church in Texas, and that church in Texas has a donor that sits right in their pew every Sunday, and they love that church. And they've got a second home in Florida. It's a condo on the beach in Florida, and it appraises at $1 million. But it's got a $200,000 mortgage on it. And the donor says, I love my church, but I don't love them that much. I want to get 200 grand back in my pocket. I want to take the little missus on some cruises. I want to put little Billy in college. I want to get 200. So $1 million appraisal, $200,000 mortgage, $200,000 cash out. Still $600,000 in equity, give or take commission and taxes and holding costs, still $600,000. So when Bob, the donor, is brought to the table, says, hey, I got this condo, church says, Bob, why don't you go sell it? You go sell it and give us the check. That's the easiest thing to do. That's what people say to us all the time. Why doesn't he just go sell it and give the church a check? Here's why that's the worst way. Because no matter how you slice it, the government's going to get a piece of that property, even if it's $50,000 in capital gains or money that he's paying on his adjusted gross income that he could have written off because of this. Still $50,000 that the church could have got. So it's the worst way to do it. Second way is church says, you know what? We'll take that property. We'll take it ourselves. Here's the problem with that. That church has to pay off the $200,000 mortgage and has to give Bob $200,000 cash to take title. It is the 501c3 taking the title that gives Bob his tax benefit. And here's what we know to be a fact. 99% of them won't do it. They don't have the expertise. They don't have the risk management. They don't have the cash. They don't have the wherewithal. Holy cow, that thing is states away. They won't do it. It's the hardest way to do it. So what we have is the third way, what we call the win-win-win way. We've put together a team. One of the pieces of the team is a specialized 501c3 whose sole purpose for existing is to take title to that property. They pay off the $200,000 mortgage. They give Bob $200,000 in cash. They invest the $400,000 so that they can take title, give him his tax benefit. They then list it with the realtor in Florida at a full commission. We want the realtors to know, just because Bob's given his property away, we're not asking you to do it for a discount. We don't want a donation from you. We want to give you what you're worth. Put money in your pocket to give that church $550,000 after expenses. So that's how it works. This is why it's risk-free and no money out of pocket for the nonprofit world, because that church never took title. They never paid off any mortgages. They just brought Bob to the table. And let me just say it this way, and I'll see what else you got for me for a question. When you think about it, every nonprofit we know, if you go to their website, there's a button that says donate here. And when you click on that button, you put in your Visa, your MasterCard, your American Express, and 3 days later, they get 98% of your donation. It's called credit card processing. The nonprofit doesn't know how much credit you have. They don't know what your credit score is. They don't know how much you can afford. They don't know how it works. They just have a button on their website. And what we're saying is they can put another button on their website. See if your property qualifies as a donation for our nonprofit. And our realtor friends can be the person that button goes to. They fill out a property valuation form. The realtor gets the contact information. They now have a property owner that wants to liquidate their property. So this is what we're saying. The church doesn't have to understand how all this works. They just need to have a button, just like they have for their credit card processing. And our real estate agents all around the country are getting these types of leads.
Huh. I mean, it's funny because it's like the easy button, right? It's a great way of getting leads, and it makes total sense. And
what is the best way for the nonprofit to ask its parishioners? By asking for an endowment. What is the best verbiage to use in the ask? Great question, Reva. Here's the thing, the church, and it's any nonprofit, we're just using that as an example, they have an emotional relationship with their donors, with their people. They already know Bob and Bill and Ted and Alice and everybody that's there. They're already having conversations with these folks. They're already taking their checks and running their credit cards and all these things. All they need to do now, they can keep it as simple as this. Hey, Mary, hey, listen, thank you so much for your $50 donation last Sunday. Every penny counts. We really helps the orphanage that we're putting together. Hey, listen, just want to let you know, we've recently found out that churches just like ours all over this country are benefiting from real estate. Now, I don't know if that's your real estate or somebody you know, but we're going to have a Zoom with Reba next Sunday after church. And we just want to invite you to sit in to learn about it. It can be as simple as that. It could be that they want to put out an e-blast. It could be that they do a social media. If they're working with me, I would tell them, let's do a press release. Let's let the whole community know that your nonprofit is stepping into the awakening, that you want to let people know, yes, you do benefit from real estate. Yep.
And then to know that that donated property is going to a good cause. It's not just going to the church to hold as an asset for themselves. You know, if it really is a property that somebody could live in, it could be, you know, for a homeless or a family that's just getting here, that's struggling, or a family that just lost a loved one and needs a place to live for a bit. You know, those properties really can get used to help other people out. And I think that that's got to be the main focus, and that's got to be the biggest thing that people have got to look at, because you can't just sell somebody on donating a property. You know, if it's if it's the house that they live in right now and it's like their main residence, is going to be hard to convince somebody to be like, hey, donate your main residence. No, it's like, hey, you've got this property. Would you mind donating it to the church so that they can use it for a good cause? Because they have XYZ that would, you know, in our church that's struggling to make their mortgage payment, or XYZ. So
I love the words you just used, because we use these all the time. You mentioned you can't sell them on it and you can't convince them of it. We at the Real Agents of Change say all the time, we don't sell the nonprofit on wanting to 6 times their donation. We don't convince a donor to sign over a deed. I don't think you could convince somebody, no matter how great you are at sales. We don't try to sell or convince realtors to be charitable real estate specialists. What we do is we educate and inform. We educate and inform the nonprofit. Hey, you know, all those donors that are already coming to your galas and your bake sales and your golf tournaments, you could bring in 6 times what you currently do if you just told them about real estate. And the donors, we don't convince them to do it. We don't want someone who has one house that their own family lives in. We don't want to ask them to donate their house. That would be insane. But those people who live in that house, who care about their church or their veterans group or their animal shelter, they all have Facebook. They all have LinkedIn. They all have 1,000 people in their phone and on their email list. And what we could say is, hey, you know how every time we have a bake sale and we ask you to promote that on Facebook so we can make $50 next Sunday? What we're going to suggest this time is, instead of buying the stale cookies, what we want you to do is click share. We just want you to share this, because all it takes is one person to see this video that we've made or to see this post, and for them to say, you know, I got that strip mall. I bought it 30 years ago. The capital gains would kill me. I've heard that that church is building an orphanage. You know what, honey? I think we should donate our property. And there you go. That's what's happening. There are people in their 70s, 80s, and 90s right this red hot minute that do not have children, or their children are just fine. I got plenty of stories about kids are fine. They don't need this money. Or they can pull out $100 grand from the property and buy life insurance, and the kids are fine. The point is, they are going to liquidate that real estate. They are liquid. They're getting ready to die. They're going to die in the next 10, 20, 30 years. They're going to liquidate it. The question is, how are they going to liquidate it? So then the next question is, do we want to be a part of a revolution that is simply not selling or convincing, informing and educating to give them options and opportunities to do something altruistic that you actually get paid a full commission for? I don't know. Sounds like an idea to me.
Absolutely. And again, it's that you still get the full commission on the listing. So it's super cool. So I know we've got a question. Perfect. Because I was just about to jump into the Q&A section of this. It says, please explain the process.
Sure. So like I was saying a minute ago, donors at the table. Donor says, you know, I've never quite heard of this before. I need to weigh my options. Okay, here's a net sheet. If you were to sell that property based on your tax situation, your capital gains, your adjusted gross income, because it's kind of hard to say, how much would someone say? Oh, I don't know. What did they pay for it? How long ago did they buy it? What tax bracket are they in? But when there's an actual donor, we give them 2 net sheets. One that shows, here's what it looks like if you just did a traditional sale. Here's what it would look like if you donated it, or if you even donated a portion of it. So we give them their options. And when they say, I like this option, I think I'll go with that, then we have a 501c3 that takes title to the property so that your nonprofit is not at any risk. Now, look, this is real estate. There's a contract. And in the contract, it says, based on all the circumstances, it looks like there's going to be $800,000 in equity. And the donor wants $600,000 of it to go to the church, $100,000 of it to go to the veterans, and $100,000 of it go to the animals. Great. Let's get it on the market. Let's do this. That's how it works. And then we hire you. If you're the one that brought them to the table, you don't compete. You're not competing with 3 other realtors. It's your listing, assuming you're competent, you know what you're doing, but you're hired. And if it's a listing in another part of the country, then you get a referral fee. It's that simple.
Yeah, well, that was another question I think I was actually going to jump into is what if it's in an area that maybe, yeah, you have a church that's more national, or I mean, church is the easiest to use as an example, but you have your organization that's more national and you're well known in it, and somebody does ask for you about the donation process. Agents, you can still get the referral fee off of those. And then we got the question on how do I find donated property? Sorry, came in late. I'm going to kind of do a quick synopsis on finding those. Um, Go to a nonprofit and sit in and meet the members is A. Step A, meet the members. Step B is talk to them. And then step 3 is when somebody's really looking for other ways that they can donate, promote this as an option that they could donate property. And so that's how I would say, and I think Cami can add a little bit more to it, but I think in a 3-step, easy to digest 5-second process is that's how you find the donated properties. Is you still got to be doing that prospecting. It isn't that there's no lead flow that comes into you from outside. It really does come from, again, that your network. You still got to do some networking.
Well, and actually, just to expand upon that, friends, if you're going to be in real estate for the next 3, 5, 10, 30, 50 years, whatever your business plan is, you're going to be talking to people. You need to talk to people. You have past clients that you need to talk to. So one way to find the donations of real estate, hey, John and Mary, you bought a house for me 3 years ago. And I remember there's a beautiful American flag in the front yard. Matter of fact, I drive by it every day on my way to work. I know you're a veteran, John. Look, I just became a charitable real estate specialist. I have learned that nonprofits all over this country are getting funded hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars by real estate. Who knew? Listen, you belong to the VFW, right? So, in other words, what a great way to get back in contact with your past clients. What a great way to communicate with all your real estate groupies, as I call them, the title and the mortgage and the other realtors. And it's not just the nonprofits. 65% of these donations come from financial advisors. So let me just put this little bee in your bonnet to kind of spin your head around while you're trying to sleep tonight. It doesn't have to be that one financial advisor that you know. See, right now, us realtors, we go meet our financial advisor at Panera's for an hour, and we're going to give each other referrals, and we hug it out and part ways, and you're lucky if you get one referral a year from them. What I'm suggesting is, what if you actually brought this to the attention of 50 financial advisors in your marketplace? Because each one of them has 500, 1,000 clients. And the reason that financial advisors are the best source, they know who's philanthropic and they know who needs a tax deduction. That's their job.
It is.
So they know who wants a tax deduction and they know who wants to be philanthropic. What they don't know is a system and a simple solution so that any of their clients can give the proceeds to any nonprofit that they want with no risk and no money out of pocket. And there's a lot of reasons why this benefits the financial advisor, and we get into that in training down the road as well. So that's one way, a couple of ways.
And add in a little bit of information about a couple of links that Cami has. So she has Charitable Masterclass, and she has a book called, or a downloadable free digital version of a book called Real Estate is Hot, Fundraising is Not. Those links are in the chat right now, and they will be shared on the YouTube video later. These are great little resources to keep in mind. And if you're interested in learning more about what Cami does. Now, Cami, give us the 2-minute spiel about Roke. Let's go. What do you got?
Well, actually, if you can go ahead and put one more link in there,
Sure.
therock.com/make money. Because we have a free online course called How to Make Money Listing Donated Real Estate. It's a free course. Want to make sure that you get that link for that, because ultimately it's a really simple process. But people think it's complicated. They complicate the crap out of it. So we want to keep it really simple. And we teach these different free things. We got all kinds of free videos. Ultimately, the first step is to become a certified charitable real estate specialist. And when you come to the master class, you learn about that. We've already given you a free ticket to come to the master class. The Real Agents of Change, the ROC, are the first, the only organization in this country that teach real estate agents, financial advisors, nonprofits, property owners, high net worth individuals, how to come together and make a difference and make money as we are doing it. Social responsibility. Social responsibility is what this is all about, friends. This isn't just about getting a listing commission for that donated real estate. This is about the 87% of your marketplace that will choose you over your competition when they know that you're doing great things for the community. So our job, our moral obligation is to let as many real estate agents know as we can. You can get paid to list donated real estate. You can get a full commission, and we're the only ones that are teaching it. So welcome to the tribe. Someone's asking, how do you get certified? Well, just like any other certification, there's a fee. It's $400 fee to get certified. And what happens is you come to the master class, you take a test, you can come to the master class as many times as you want for the whole year. When you are certified, you can bring 2 VIP guests. Every time we do the class live, we do it once a month live. You get the recorded version, and we feature you on our map. So that's how you.
With that, everybody, thank you so much for joining us today. Cami, any closing thoughts that you'd like to share?
I just want to say that this is not complicated. It can be really, really simple. Do yourself a favor and just learn, because my analogy is 15, 20 years ago, no one knew what a short sale was. When I first Googled short sale, the only thing that came up was that Victoria's Secrets was having a sale on shorts. I'm not even kidding. But then all of a sudden, everybody knew. People that aren't even in real estate know what a short sale is now. And that's what's going to happen with donated real estate. Right now, people are like, what? Huh? Who? How? Huh? Just like a short sale. You're gonna list a property that has more debt than it's worth? How does that even work? I don't understand. But this will become very, very commonplace. So just learn. And if it's for you, great. We'll help you build your business with it. And if it's not for you, that's okay. You know people that need this tool, and we can put them in touch with a realtor that wants to help the community and get paid to do it. So just learn.
Got it. Yeah, it's I love it. Cami, thank you so much for joining us and teaching us about donated properties. I know personally I've learned more. I even took some notes because I was like, oh wow, this is interesting. It was, different to see that, 80% is really just philanthropy and 20% is the tax deductions that they're getting. That was a little eye-opening for myself. And man, you handled every question that came through, absolute champ. You had an answer for all of it. Hey, everybody, I do want to absolutely encourage you to check out some of the resources that we have again in the chat for Cami. And I want to remind you that she did this. She was a real estate agent selling donated properties. This isn't something that she's like, oh, do this, it'll be great, and never have done it herself. She sat there and lived and worked in your shoes and kind of grew what is now becoming more and more popular. And we're so happy to have you here and to teach our agents about this. This is again, as Shalami goes, we want to give back to our agents the most that we can. And this is a double whammy in the fact that we're able to give back to the community, but also give a new resource that our agents didn't think about when it comes to properties and ways to get new listings that I don't know how many really thought about getting listings from donated property, and the fact that you have this whole setup for how to do it. And it's just so, so cool. I love it. Anybody who
It's a,
hasn't already joined
it's
Show
it's
Up,
it's a
like
double shawami.
it's a double show lobby. Yes. Uh, if you haven't heard of Shawabi and you're happy to join us because you know you were either invited by Cami or myself at some point in time, we're an on-demand showing agent service. We're here to help agents with home showings when they're unavailable. Now it's funny because we've been on the donating side and the community side. I wanted to even bring to the attention that we have had, it was a very heartwarming story, an agent out of California who on Fridays and Saturdays, if she took a showing on Showami, she actually donated a portion of her proceeds to the homeless in her area, which I do want to encourage any agents in our network really consider doing that. That's an incredible thing to give back, but also we've also seen that agents are giving to other agents. They're helping, saying, hey, look, I know right now things are tougher on your business. I'd love to just pay for a home showing for you. Later, if you have a referral when you're more busy, I'm here for you. This is, you know, we want to again be a company that is very community focused. So you know, not pulling us away too much from everything that Cami's talked about, but pulling again back into what we as Shawami are doing and why we again brought Cami on is because we really do believe that what she's doing is going to help the community, not only help our community, but also help you guys as agents, hopefully bring a couple more books to your business. So thank you everybody for joining us. Thank you, Cami, for joining us. It has been awesome and look forward to even more of these.